It was an explosive combination of comic book action and edgy adult satire. Released in 1987, Robocop reinvented the science fiction genre with its bold mixture of action, emotion, and humor.
I like it!
Robocop spawned 2 sequels, 2 TV shows, and countless games and comics, but none of the stories told could rival director Paul Verhoeven's original vision. Now, 25 years since the release of the first movie, MGM is hoping to repeat the success.
On September the 24th, 2012, shooting finally began on the much-anticipated Robocop remake, almost 7 years after it was first announced by Sony Pictures way back in 2005. But a new movie has been rumored even farther back than that, when in 2002, Paul Verhoeven showed interest in revisiting the character. In June 2008, MGM displayed a poster at the Licensing International Expo announcing an intended 2010 release date of the film. Shortly after that, it was announced that Requiem for a Dream director Darren Aronofsky would take the helm. However, MGM was not in a good place, with the studio in dire financial trouble. $4 billion worth of financial trouble. Things slowed to a halt once again. Robocop wasn't the only victim of MGM's money woes. Other casualties included the 23rd James Bond movie Skyfall and The Hobbit, the latter eventually being abandoned by Guillermo del Toro altogether after constant delays. It wasn't long before Darren Aronofsky also jumped ship from Robocop amidst rumors that he disagreed with the studio in regards to shooting it in 3D. As he adamantly stated in interviews, however, this was not the reason.
And rumor has it that you're going to be directing Robocop. Any truth to that?
I'm working on it. We're trying to get a screenplay. And who knows? Once we got to get a screenplay, then we got to find some money to make it.
Aronofsky's vision would supposedly have had a more real approach with less use of the digital medium. Effects would be accomplished in a similar fashion as his previous movie, The Fountain, giving it a very distinct organic look. The movie would also have had only the actual name Robocop in common with the Verhoeven original, something that worried many fans.
You know, I think I'm a huge fan of Verhoeven's film. I think it completely holds up, and it's a masterful film. Incredibly had incredible insight into the future, and it's still hilarious, and so I have full respect for it. But the thing that's exciting for a filmmaker like me about it is that it's not as iconic as some of the other titles out there, and so there's room to do stuff with it. And the world has so changed. I mean, how much every one of us is somewhat of a cyborg at this point, with cell phones hanging out of us, with implants of all different types. I think there's a lot of really timely ideas in it, and if it comes together, it'll be great, but who knows? I'll show as much respect to the fans as I can.
As Aronofsky said his goodbyes during MGM's financial troubles, fans soon began to speculate if the director ever had any real interest in a Robocop remake. Aronofsky's tendency to abandon movie projects led to the theory that this was just another publicity stunt, a stepping stone to one of his more personally invested movies, as he had also been previously attached to Batman, Superman, Watchmen, Preacher, and even recently The Wolverine, all of which he left relatively early on. In 2011, Brazilian director José Padilha was announced to remake Robocop for a 2013 release. Padilha, who previously directed the 2 Elite Squad movies, made it clear early on that he would not use Aronofsky's script but develop his own vision for Robocop.
The movie that I'm trying to make, in a certain sense, is about... It's something that is not in the first film, because in the first film, Alex Murphy, which I love, by the way, Alex Murphy's... I love it so much that I will never try to make it again, right? Alex Murphy is shot down, and then you know, you have a little sequence in the hospital, and then he shows up as Robocop, the famous leg coming out of the car, and you see the rubber leg, and then he gets up. You don't see how Robocop is made. So that's what my movie sort of is about. How do you get a person and really make something work with the science that is available now?
It must be really difficult to redo Robocop, I think, because I think the fact that we didn't have all the means, and money-wise it was only done for $13 million, 1-3, so made us extremely creative and inventive. And I think that is really what you feel in the movie. It's like going where people have not been going, and how you would do that now, then you would go into all the digital world, and I'm not so sure that that would improve the soul of the movie, you know?
Robocop was not the first Verhoeven movie to get the remake treatment. Total Recall, what many consider the spiritual sequel to Robocop, was released in 1990 and remade in 2012.
I thought both of the originals was pretty good, and I don't know why they feel like they need to make them again.
But what about Paul Verhoeven's interest in making a sequel all the way back in 2002? During a 20th anniversary interview, he revealed that his take on a new movie would have Robocop put back online after many years in cold storage. Even Peter Weller admitted he'd be interested in donning the metal armor yet again. Much to fans' disappointment, though, nothing came of this.
When we return, a new actor faces the challenges of the robo-suit. Next on Robocop Redux.
I'd buy that for $1.